Welcome back to NOMO Rural Data Centers. This is Millie Ryan. We have the meeting from last week of Franklin County Commissioners. And if you've been following what's happened out here, you know why people are showing up. These two massive AI data center proposals sitting right on the edge of farmland, backyards, the Shaw Nature Reserve. And for the speaker's part of the meeting, one resident after another making their case. Everybody brought up the issue from a different viewpoint, but there was a main theme. And if you listen closely, you'll hear it. People are asking, slow down the process, bring in independent experts, do environmental studies before you rezone, not after. Stop meeting behind closed doors and be honest with us. Acknowledge the issues with water use, noise, and who these companies actually are. We don't trust them. The question isn't what people are saying. It's, will the commissioners actually hear them? Because it seems like they're not hearing them. Speakers voiced their concerns about Crooked Creek, Beltline, the red flag, the Festus permit that raised more questions than answers. Here's the meeting.
Next is our public comments on non-agenda items. As most are familiar with the routine, you have 3 minutes. I will give you a 15-second wrap of the gavel so you can wrap up your comments. The first being Laura and Ittman. Okay, yes. I didn't know if that was an H or a. Yeah. But Laura Ittman.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
My name is Laura Watson Ittman. I speak in opposition of the two proposed data centers being considered here. My parents are Nancy and Jerry Watson, and their home sits on the western border of the McLaren property, which, as we all know, is the Crooked Creek data center. I grew up there, and in the future, it's my intention to return there and live in my family's home. Now, a lot of experts talk about the harmful effects of the data center upon the environment. Such effects include the extraordinary water usage, incessant humming noise, fog clouds, displacement of endangered wildlife, and the never-ending light pollution. These are the conditions that we would suffer from as our house is just next door. A data center belongs in an industrial park and away from our farmland, rivers, and forests. It doesn't belong in an agricultural tract near our homes and schools. And it certainly doesn't belong anywhere near a conservation area such as Shaw Nature Reserve. This reserve is a unique, beautiful site with enormous diversity of plants and animals. It deserves our careful protection. We are all tied together in this community. These individual choices will have generational consequences. We are currently experiencing a drought, and using our water supplies to cool machines is reckless and irresponsible. We are all stewards of the land and responsible for protecting it for our children. For me personally, it's heartbreaking to think that my children will not experience my family's farm in the way that it is now. These effects of the data center will just destroy our family's land and this community's rural way of life. And for these reasons, I urge you to vote no. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Next is Nancy Watson.
Good morning,
Good morning.
Commissioners.
Morning.
I continue to oppose both data centers proposed in Franklin County for many reasons, primarily because of their location next to residential properties and near the Shaw Nature Reserve. In the June 27, 2026 Economist magazine, I read an article under the artificial intelligence section called Do Not Compute. I printed 4 copies, one for each of you and one for Amanda Jasper. The article is 2.5 pages long, far too much for me to read in my allotted time today. I will read some of it, however. From the top of the slide, which curves into a little backyard pool, the view as recently as April would have been of lush Ohio farmland, dense forest, and pretty clapboard houses. Now, the view is of 6 giant weatherproof tents of the type used by the armed forces to house fighter jets or by aid organizers in disaster zones. These will soon contain perhaps $30 billion worth of cutting-edge semiconductors. Along with a clutch of gas turbines to provide power, they occupy a site the size of an airport terminal. If Meta, the site's owner, stays on track to bring its Prometheus data center online in 2026, it will dedicate an entire gigawatt of power, the amount needed to power as many as 1 million homes, are roughly the output of a large nuclear reactor. And this is for artificial intelligence. There's so much here, and that's why I'm giving you a copy to read later. Some surveys now suggest that Americans would sooner live next to a nuclear plant than a data center. Already, local activists are claiming scalps. At least 20 data center projects worth $42 billion, which would have used 3.5 gigawatts of power, were canceled in the first 3 months of 2026 after local pushback. Residents across America are standing up in council meetings, begging for projects to be axed in the hope of slowing the technology's process
Nancy.
and progress. Will they succeed?
Thank you,
Will
Nancy.
they succeed here? I
Thank
hope
you for
not.
your comments.
Thank you.
Gene Elkins.
Good morning. My name is Gene Elkins. I live at 2578 Sugar Lake Road in Pacific, a mere few hundred yards away from the McLaren farm. First, I want to be sure that we have an understanding that I know nobody in China. I've never talked to anybody in China. I don't get mail from China, whether by the U.S. Postal Service or an email. I have no connection to China. But I am a resident, and I know that it's your role to represent us. I'm a trustee for the Northwood Property Owners Association for Sugar Lake Road and Northwoods. Most recently, my fellow trustee, Scott Matthews, has sent 3 requests to meet with the commission regarding our concerns about Beltline, and we've had 0 response to any of those requests, and I don't think that's very good business for you, any of you, to ignore us on this matter. With regards to Beltline, back in January, when this first surfaced by getting an anonymous letter in my mailbox that this situation was being undertaken under NDAs with the City of Pacific, the first meeting was a week later in the City of Pacific, and Beltline made their pitch. Mr. Fancy Shoes, Ryan Sanders, I believe his name is, said they're going to need 1.4 million gallons of water a day. Their plan was to attach themselves to the wastewater treatment center in Pacific, and it would require annexation of 2 properties, the McLaren farm and the Halt farm, in order to accomplish that connection. Subsequent to that, they moved away from the City of Pacific. They approached Franklin County. One of their more recent presentations for Franklin County was that they were going to only need 20,000 gallons of potable water. And suddenly they've decided that they are going to air cool their data center project without any modifications or disclosures on what that might do in terms of sound or pollution or other things like that. We depend on you to ask critical questions of these developers. In particular, my concern is Beltline. We're not privy to conversations that occur. We're not privy to any pushback that you may have when you have a disingenuous developer who is making it up as they go. And it's very concerning to us, and it doesn't make any sense to us that you continue to coddle these people, and we need better representation. Please respond to Scott Matthew. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments. Karen Fuse.
Good morning. My name is
morning.
Karen. I live north of Pacific. I don't live next to either one of the data centers, but I have issues with the data centers. For one, I think you, as a commissioner, should require experts to help you with the regulations on data centers. I don't think it's a good idea for you to go to the data centers and ask them what regulations they need. And I think it's only fair to tell the citizens who you've gone to and what you have learned over this. I think that we deserve that. I think that many politicians in the state and over the country has realized that this process needs to slow down and regulations need to be set. I think I would feel better if you three would also realize the process needs to slow down. You need to talk to experts, and the experts need to give us some advice on what needs to be done with these data centers. I'd also like to talk about fire protection. The silicone plant in Pacific caught fire recently. It was some belts in the plant. It took 43 units to put out that fire. And they did a great job, and the silicone plant continued. Were you going to get the help with 2 hyper data centers? How much coverage will that take for fire? So I have that. And who's going to pay for that? Do the citizens have to pay for that? I'd also like you to tell us, what are you going to do about the effects of data centers on the public? The heat they create, the water usage. We are not at a race with China. China has not paid me to come up here and talk to you. China only has 500 data centers. The U.S. has over 5,000 data centers. There's no race. We're ahead of the game, and we just need to slow down and take some time. Thank you.
Thank you for Travis Layton.
Good morning, Travis Layton, Jefferson County. The first packet I have in here, it's a quote I got from Sound Acoustics. It's a certified acoustic engineer. I happen to go to school with him. It's basically his time, T&M, to help draft a realistic ordinance that will protect for all different types of sound, the dBA, dBc, different frequencies. This guy knows his stuff. He works with other cities. He actually did a study for Festus for their outdoor gun range. He's known around. He's legit. So it's not exactly apples to apples where you could just copy it, but it's kind of an example of what I wanted to do, but it was like $16,000 and I couldn't pay for that on my own. So anyway, his name and contact is in there. I didn't pre-plan with Karen to suggest hiring independent consultants, but there's the sound guy right there for you. The next packet it's a land disturbance permit. I'm going back to trying to show you guys what you have in store for you. If you open the door to these developers, going back to my favorite city, Festus. This is a permit from back in March because they're further along than you guys. And some things to note, Chris McKee, the president of CRG, which would be like their Beltline or Provident, he signed this permit. When does presidents of big companies sign permits. And why is he using Buck Point LLC? They're using a shell company incorporated out of Delaware, hoping we wouldn't find this, but we did. And these are how these people operate. And they still to this day try to say how transparent they are, but they're not. And they also have the right parcel number, but the wrong address. So maybe it was a mistake. Maybe they didn't want us to find this, but this is how these people operate. Okay. The next thing is all the big wigs, even above him, came out to Festus Monday for a closed meeting per RSMO 610.022.03. They said in the agenda it was for contract negotiation, but it was really to give the new council members a presentation to try to win them over. And they did a little bit kind of win them over. And some of the things they told them, they made a website with this presentation, and it's just a bunch more propaganda and lies. They're saying they're shrinking by 40% the scope because they're listening to the residents. The residents don't want it at all. But the other thing that's built in here is they're lying because there's a document from last year that says 4 buildings, and now they're saying we shrunk it to 4 buildings. Okay. One other thing is this layout, how they're supposed to put the generators in between the buildings for sound buffer. But if you look here, they kind of tried to blur out the subdivision there. They're pointing right to the subdivision.
Travis.
Okay, thanks.
Or not, yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You appreciate you. Thanks for the information. Your time's expired.
All right.
Thank you for comments.
Thank
Thank you.
Twyla Ashworth. Good morning.
In Luke 6, Jesus says, "Do unto others as you would have them do unto you." In the world we live in today, few consider the impact of their actions on others, as is evident by the nightly news of people's impact on their fellow man. I want to ask you, if we changed seating and we sat in your chairs and told you we're putting 16 hyperscale data centers each next to each of you, how would you feel? Add to that, you cannot sell. You have to live next to these buildings. And further still, we are the people you elected. You cannot tell me you would not be angry, betrayed, resentful, disappointed in us as your elected officials. You would be feeling just as we are. Your home values would be worthless as your property has just become devalued and unsellable to no fault of your own. Those dreams of updating the kitchen, purchasing new siding, building that new deck or patio, or building a room addition have just been shattered. Data centers belong in already established and abandoned industrial areas that at one time housed industry and factories gone defunct. Invest the money in those areas and put the hyperscale data centers there. Rejuvenate those areas. Industry does not belong in the rural landscape. Agricultural lands need to remain agricultural. Please protect rural America. We truly are the breadbasket of America. You cannot eat or drink data. Let's learn from those out west who are experiencing water and land issues where water shortages exist on a daily basis and the land is unproductive. Please vote no on the data centers in rural landscapes. Please vote no on the land use regulations. The land use regulations do not protect the rural landscapes, rivers, lakes, streams, springs, forests, or wildlife. Neither do the land regulations protect rural residents. Please do what Jesus said. Do unto others as you would want them to do to you. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Linda Carr.
6 months ago, hundreds of citizens of Franklin County begged for a 1-year moratorium. From January until now, we presented well over 1,500 pages of proof, evidence from all the residents of very high degrees in education, from chemists, biologists, environmental and electrical engineers, hydrogeologists, residents of this county with probably more education in the necessary fields of the environmental impact of these 2 proposed data centers than any of you commissioners. Not to say that you're educated in your own fields. All we ask is for 1 year to take time to absolute necessary environmental impact assessments. Why are you refusing to do this? You had this done on a simple existing bridge to be replaced, yet you know without any doubt that it extremely needs to be done now on these 2 sites so that you 3 and all the county residents can see that we are right about the destruction and the curse to our county. These useless AI data centers will bring. They bring absolutely nothing to this county that will benefit any of the citizens for progress for our future. Instead of trusting us and believing in the residents whose tax money provides for your salaries, you and the county attorney seem to be doing your level best to find laws, change laws, manipulate anything so you can try to prove to this county that you have the substantial reasons for pushing this horrible curse through. Please don't let your position and pride be the driving force. We know your plate's full, and our county needs your attention on many more important matters. Franklin County can set a precedence along with many other counties in Missouri by saying that no to rezoning on farmland, agricultural land into the curse of a useless concrete building that you know will leave us for us to have to maintain. The Bible says when Jesus was asked the greatest commandment, he says, "Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all your heart, all your soul, and all your mind." And he said that's the first and great. He said that, and then the second to that was, "Thou shalt love the neighbor as thyself." On these two commandments hang the law of the prophets. As I teach my second graders, we are to love the Lord with all of our heart. Then in 1 Timothy 6:10, for the love of money is the root of all evil. There's no room in your heart to love the Lord with all your heart and love money too, which is evil. Man born in sin created money, God did not. You believe all these AI data centers will bring us loads of money to Franklin County. You can't serve two masters. He said so, God and money. We the people value what God has given us much more than the love of money. Please reject the rezoning and God will bless us and this county with a lot more honorable ways to prosper. The landowners and developers, they don't care about us, just themselves. No accountability, no designated punitive damages, no regulations to keep your residents safe. Other counties in Missouri and states all over this country, all over Missouri and all over the country are rejecting and banning AI data centers. Look on Facebook, watch it, okay? And then maybe not everything's true, but it is. Josh Hawley has said so. Please honor our plea. Listen to us.
Thank you. Your time has expired.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Dana Bowers.
The irony behind what most people have said before I've even gotten up here, I think it's funny. A single bee is ignored, but when millions come together as a team, even the bravest man shows fear. The one thing the government fears is the day those of us as people stand together. Here you go, guys. That's for you today. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Luke 6:31. I've heard several people say it already. Truly, I tell you, whatever you do for the one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. Dave, I'm right here. Matthew 25:40. After the meeting last week, you specifically stated you are a God-fearing man and only God shall judge you. That's great. I have the same tattoo on the right side of my body as well. I agree with you. The way that you were treating your constituents, would you want to be treated this way? I mean, honestly, would you want to be left in the dark? Would you want zero transparency on what's happening in your own backyard and have no say in this life-altering decision? Because that's how we feel right now. Mr. Overschmidt, you are a commodities broker, Ken, engineer, Schatz, telecommunications, utility contractor, company owner. You're no different than all the rest of us out here. You all know this is a decision that should be made by we, the people of the county. Documented facts and informational studies have been given to you all by local professionals that have already spent hours doing this research for you. Why aren't you utilizing this to compile the evidence to put a stop to the destruction of our county land? If you want to meet with them specifically, we will bring them to you. But we don't know if you're even at that point of needing to speak with them because you're not communicating with us. I'll be honest, I don't just pray for all three of you gentlemen every single morning. I also pray for your families and your friends because I hope to God that you have better communication with them than you do with the people of this county. It's been months, and all of us have yet to see one person show up and speak in favor of these two proposals. If there are people in favor of them, please tell them put their big girl panties on, show up here to a freaking meeting. But as of right now, your only obligation is to the people of this county and to follow through with the will of the people, not Kehoe's destructive agenda for the state. He's only doing this all for the love of money. Just like several people have said before, the love of money is the root of all evil. You three are not dictators, you're not kings, you're not presidents, you're just one of us. You three are our neighbors, fellow taxpayers. Our concerns are not unwarranted, nor do they deserve to be rudely dismissed. Dave, you have actually publicly stated several times that you would not want this in your backyard, nor do you even want this next to your own business. So I will refer again back to Luke 6:31. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. No one gives a rat's ass about what your definition of decorum is. We're not in Jeff City. We're not at the White House. We're in Franklin County, Missouri. You've been randomly making up rules each week as we've gone along. The people of this county are telling you we would like to have this meeting changed up. We talked about this after the meeting. By law,
Dana, your time has expired.
give us the detailed information on what was discussed with the law firm you said you were meeting with last week pertaining to the pros
Jeff-
tax revenue
Jeff
structure.
Hayden.
Have some discussion. Have some discussion. You have it on the agenda, discussion items and reports. So when everyone's done speaking, why don't you open that up for the three of you to actually let us ask questions? Have discussion.
Jeff Hayden.
So because of the data centers, I started coming to these meetings in March. I wanted to see how you guys conducted your business. And I watched this morning as you did, I don't know, 4 or 5 different items. Took 10 minutes. Not very long. And the participation by the public in those items, there wasn't any. So you bring these data centers to us. Do you see the participation that you're getting? Are you listening? We got issues with this. Do you? We don't want this crap next to our homes, next to our schools. And you're not telling us anything. You know, I understand we've asked you to slow the process down. If it goes any slower, it won't exist. Okay, so we would like to know where you're at with it. The conversation that we have, it's all one-sided. It comes from us. Y'all say nothing other than what you might say off the record at a radio show or God only knows where. Not here. Not in front of the public. So no rezoning. We don't need this. Definitely not. On a different issue, I know you guys spent, almost $1 million on equipment? A couple mini X's earlier this year, 4 dump trucks and blades. You know, all that shit sits outside in the weather.
Thank you for your comments. Next, Rachel Maxwell.
Good morning, commissioners. I'm so proud of our community for showing up. I'd like to start with maybe a bit of a unifying message. I think we can all say, you know, the 4th of July, the 250th anniversary of this country is a good thing. And we're all part of the process to help keep it going. And that I think hopefully we can all say that the health and happiness of ourselves and our children shouldn't be political and that it should be an open conversation. I would like to actually start with one of my last things, kind of piggyback on some of some other points. I don't know why we're having all of these closed door meetings. When Commissioner Cox was the presiding commissioner a couple months ago, he stated maybe town hall meetings would be good in the future, some open communication. And I think a lot of trust can be built between all of us if you started talking directly to us instead of the media, newspapers. That could go a long way in this issue. A couple things that will probably take me a couple weeks to get through. The Department of Energy emergency order number 202-26-23 this weekend, or maybe a week ago. There needs to be regulations in emergency weather, especially 100-degree weather, that the electric will go to us first and not the data centers. And if they have to use their backup generators, that just causes more health issues. Like, we just have to have some regulations in place. I agree that we need to know where you are in the process, town halls, updates, even a web page, like the DNR or the DOC, I forget which one, they created a whole web page of data center information. So you can just say, hey, go there, look it up, or talk to us, openly. I am concerned about all of the closed door meetings, especially this IDA meeting, the Industrial Development Authority. It was originally scheduled for July 22nd. It's been taken off the agenda rotation. I want to know if that's actually canceled, because back on March 12th, there was a commission meeting scheduled. It was just taken off the agenda, and that was the day that you visited a data center. That was the same day. And so I want to know July 22nd if that meeting is happening, because there was, quote, discussion regarding Franklin County economic development on that list. And the conflict of interest on all of these boards is just glaring. I know another community member asked for a list of like board members of anything throughout the county. Things that I couldn't find information for, like who is on the Industrial Development Authority, the Franklin County Transportation Committee, Jefferson Franklin Community Action Corporation Board, the Franklin County SB 40 Resource Board. I did find for the Zoning Adjustment Board, but a lot of these, what I can find is concerning this Tim Tobin, Mr. Schatz, Mr. Grush on the Transportation Committee, but then there's Echo Camps and Tobins, and they are signing members for the LLC that was in the
Rachel,
application.
Thank you. Your time has expired. Janine Kreider.
Gentlemen, before I was a chubby country bumpkin, I was an entertainer. In 2000, I had the very distinct honor of serving with the Department of Defense in the Middle East Desert Storm. It was my first step onto the streets of Bahrain that I saw the true devotion to country and what it was. Men dutifully standing on top of buildings on guard in 120-degree heat, sweat-saturated Kevlar vests drying on barricades, an unwavering devotion to the commitment made to God and country. A sight experienced throughout Kuwait, the UAE, Qatar, and then the relief of the island of Terceira, an island on Portugal, where we shared an airstrip with the Portuguese government. It was there I learned how precious this nation truly is. It may only be exceptional to Americans, but to true patriots, which are all of these people, it's everything. It's irreplaceable. I just want to tell you that there's still time for you to be men of honor, still time to do the right thing. If tomorrow all the things were gone I'd worked for all my life, and if we had to start again with just our children and our wives, I'd thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause that flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the man who died and gave that right to me. And I'll gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. I ask for special dispensation for my 3-minute time limit in honor of our wonderful government and our nation. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston, from New York to LA, there is pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say, that we're proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the man who died and gave that right to me. And I'll gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. I hope you do too. God bless the USA. I hope you do too. This will likely be the most memorable decision of your life, gentlemen.
Janine, your
will
time
you
has
be remembered as
expired.
heroes, or will you be remembered as villains? As courageous or cowardly? Will your memory be respected by your families in this community, or will they wish to forget your names? It is good to realize that if love and peace can prevail on earth, and if we can teach our children to honor nature's gifts, the joys and the beauties of outdoors will be here forever. Amen.
Adjourned.
That's the speakers for today. I want to remind everyone the decision isn't final yet. There's time for it to go differently. And you can see it's important to show up, even just once. You don't need a script. You don't need a law degree. You just need to be in the room and voice your opinion. They need to hear from us. It isn't a left or right movement. This is nonpartisan. People are waking up to what is going on. And I want to remind everyone, if you can't be there on a Tuesday, there are other things you can do. I do the podcast. I go to the meetings when I can. You can show up at a protest. You can get involved. Be aware. Local politics matter. We don't want these data centers. We need to all stand up and do something